This is the Art School Graduates Podcast. I am your host, Justin Robinson. Today, I have a super cool, really dope, triple threat, as he would like to call himself, Mr. Julian B. Julian, thank you for showing up today on the podcast. So, man, let's just jump into it, Julian.
Okay. What are we talking about?
My first introduction to you was when you worked at that radio station. We shall remain nameless. But my first introduction to you was when you were there as a social media manager.
Yeah.
Enlighten the people what that is, because a lot of people hear social media manager and they just think you just take pictures and post. What is the process for that?
I mean, essentially, that's what you do. But really just being a social media manager is just being aware of social media, or just anyone who's involved in social media. A lot of people think that it's something that is like can't be really focused in on. I mean, but people do have careers in it just because it is something that is like, a part of like everyday life, but it's also a really big business. But my day-to-days are always just like staying up to date with like what's going on in the social media space, seeing what those conversations are. Of course, you want to know like what the trends are, like what people are doing. A lot of the stuff that happens is because regular people just pick up their phones and they post it on social media, and everyone takes that and remixes it. And then a lot of stuff that happens in social media is a lot of entertainment news. That's what I focused on a lot when I was at Power.
So curious, how did you spot these trends? Like how easy or hard or difficult was it to spot trends for you?
It's not really difficult. Like, I hate to say this, I'm on my phone all the time. So like, you're gonna see it. And just like how every day you can share stuff with your friends on social media, like everyone's seeing everything. And so when you're on your phone in these spaces, in these social media platforms, like you see everything. And I just see it all. And you become a part of like the culture of it. You understand the language of it. You understand, the strategy behind it once you like really get hands in, or hands on, whichever one. And I don't know, it just works. I didn't go to school for this. I never thought that I would have a career in social media.
What'd you go to school for?
I studied music business in college.
Oh.
And so everything that I've done, like career-wise, has always been focused in entertainment and music. And when I actually was in college, I interned at Kiss FM. And that's when I first got into radio. Like I'm an artist, I'm a singer. Radio was a huge part of my life when I was a kid. And so like when I started to like intern in the radio space, that's when like I was kind of like, do I want to be on air? Like, do I want
a personality?
Yeah, do I want to be a personality? Like, I don't like the way that I speak. Well, not the way that I speak, but how I sound. Like, so I don't like necessarily talking all the time when recording because it makes my voice sound higher. But I started to like get an overview of what happens at a radio station when I was interning at Kiss. And one thing that like really started to like pull me was the social media space and like entertainment reporting. Because like when I was a kid, I also wanted to be a news reporter.
This is Julian Banks signing off for Fox 11 News.
Right. See you tomorrow. So like I've just always been involved in entertainment. I've always wanted to do it. And so when I started to like gravitate towards like the aspects of like writing and blogging, because I love writing, and then also I would notice that artists would come in to the studio and either be interviewed or have live performances, and I just wanted to have that much of a hands-on experience. And so when I come in, like I would take pictures and like just record and stuff. And after that, after I graduated, I couldn't find a job in the industry. I thought I wanted, because I studied music business, I thought I wanted to be an A&R and
Hold on. What is an A&R? I
artist
have
and
no clue what that
repertoire.
is.
Artist
What
and
is that?
repertoire. They work for a label,
Uh-huh.
and they are very much seekers of new talent, new sounds.
Okay.
So they'll go out and like, or be in contact with a lot of people, and just to see like who is like up and coming and
So it's like
what,
they have to keep their ear to the street,
yeah.
basically.
And
Oh, wow.
they look out for songwriters. But then they also have like a hands-on, um, like experience, I guess. I don't, that's not the
Right.
word I'm looking for, but they're just hands-on with like creating and curating albums for artists. So they help the
Okay.
artists find songwriters. They help the artists find the songs that would be a fit for their projects that they're putting out. If it's like a cohesive sound, they look for new talent. And I really thought I wanted to do that. But also in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm an artist. Like, I want to do this myself. I don't want to be looking out for other people, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I went on a couple interviews. I interviewed with Atlantic. I interviewed with like Warner, but I never got a job. And I just worked at my retail job for a really long time. It was my college job. And when I couldn't find a job, I just worked there. And then I worked my way up. And then like light bulbs just started flickering and like going off. And because I was like moving up in the company and I was going to have my own store. And I was just like, this shit isn't for me. Can I curse?
Just did.
Okay.
You're
I was
good.
like,
You're good.
I was like,
You're good.
this isn't for me. This isn't what I
Uh-huh.
want to do. I've always wanted to do music. I've always wanted to be in entertainment. And so I started interning again. I started interning at Power. And then I worked part-time at that retail job. And then I worked another part-time job in music publishing. And that was boring as fuck. I do not.
What is it?
Music publishing, it was I was in charge of like the
Paperwork?
music library. Yeah, it was very much data driven. I was in charge of like the library.
The library.
Right?
We get it. We understand everything you're saying.
And that was just really fucking boring. And I was just like, what am I doing here? Luckily, I didn't get fired, but I wasn't asked to come back.
They voluntarily let you go.
Yeah. That job was so fucking boring. Oh my God. But then I ended up getting, not promoted. I got brought on as a part-timer at Power after a year of interning. And like when I was interning, like I was just taking advantage of everything. I was learning everything and people liked me. But then when my internship was up, because I extended it for a year, I was like, there weren't any positions open.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm getting older. I've already graduated from college. I haven't found a job in the industry. And I legit remember crying in a Target parking lot when it was like my last day of the internship or something like that. And I was just like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? Like, and like a month after I finished my internship, a position opened up part-time and I was brought in that way. And I started working with the midday person on there. And then like, and then like 4 or 5 months later, my previous supervisor, they left. And I was presented with the opportunity to be the interim social media manager. And during that time, like, taking on that responsibility, like I was scared shitless. And it was like
it's a big brand you gotta keep up.
And I was it was during the holidays and they have like their holiday Christmas concert and I was doing it by myself. And then a known rapper, I'm not gonna say who it was, but I still have beef with him for doing this. They dropped out of the concert. It was our headliner. And like, here I am, like trying to push tickets.
Posting him.
And he just, the day before. And
oh, wow.
I was just so stressed out. But we ended up trending that night on Twitter. So, yeah. But yeah, that was a long story.
Yeah, no, you're good. But since we're talking about big brands, you have moved on to, I think, the biggest personality brand, I might want to say. with
Yeah.
managing Nick Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
That how is it working for the man that never sleeps,
Yeah.
the man of 100 jobs? It's just like, how do you keep up? I that's what I'm saying. How do you keep up with him? Not anything else, like just him.
Honestly, it's
Exactly.
it's not really hard. But
Really, this
yeah,
man is coast to coast every day.
yeah, literally. I go to work laughing all the
That's good.
time, and like just being like so close with everybody. Our office
Right.
is really small. It's not a lot of people there.
Right.
Um, and there's always people coming in and out. There's always something happening. Nick is
Okay.
always looking for the next bag or creating the next bag. And so that's really motivational for me, especially just because he's been doing this a really long time and he's continuing to do what he wants, uh, funding everything that he wants himself and like uh, seeing things through and making things happen. And what I appreciate the most, just like seeing him work, is if something doesn't work out, he has something else lined up, or
Right.
he'll figure out how to make what didn't work out again. And if that doesn't work out, then he's going to try it again in a different way. And then if it doesn't work out, he'll go on to something else.
So he's always pivoting, it seems like.
Yeah.
Now, could that
But
drive?
he's always pivoting in the right direction.
Got you. So that's what I was going to say. Could that drive you crazy if like you're creating this content for him and
A
then he's
little
like,
bit.
you know what? That's not going to work. I'm over it. Next.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing about him, like, he's cool with a lot of stuff. Like, he's really down for whatever. But it's not always like restrictive.
Got you.
So he does.
He embraces the creativity
Yeah,
of
he
it.
does. Yeah, and like
Yeah.
he invites like influencers all the time to do collabs with them, just so that he can be a part of those conversations. You know, being a part of those conversations in social media, he knows that social media is really big. And it's always like something legit. One of my supervisors, he comes to me like every like month and a half, and he's like, Julian, we need to start a new page for this show because Nick is going to be doing this and then Nick is going to be doing that. I'm like, okay, I'm here for it.
Man, your cell phone, they had to give you another phone because I was about to say your
No,
cell phone
okay.
probably stays dead all
It
day.
really doesn't. Like, it's busy, but it's not. Nick is so busy. Like, sometimes he legit will not reply to me for days. And like, I'm like sending him stuff and I'm just like trying to keep it like going. But like he has just always so much going on. But at the end of the day, it's like it gets done, and it gets done when he pretty much wants it, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So drawing off that inspiration for Nick, where he's always constantly moving and changing and pivoting into like something that makes him happy. Let's talk about Mr. Songwriter, Mr. Singer himself, Julian Banks. Let's talk about
Julian
that
B.
man.
Let's get my name correct.
Excuse me. I stand corrected. It is the
Julian
artist formerly
B.
known as Julian B.
Yes, let's get it right.
Let's talk about that. I've known you for a while. Nor, my wife, has always told me that you were a singer, and now I see you put together this super, it's like dynamic version of you. Like this is very much a different dynamic version of you. So as you step into this new era of Julian B, how do you see yourself flourishing or changing?
You know, I'm not even going to hold you. I don't know. A lot of the stuff that I've succeeded in life, like personally, and then just also just like career-wise, I legit just keep my head down and I work hard as fuck. And whatever comes to me, and that's what I do next. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I don't see myself being like, oh, well, in 5 years, I'm going to do this, or I'll be doing this. Just because if you would have told me I would have worked at the biggest radio station in Los Angeles growing up as a kid listening to the radio station, like, I would have
Mhm.
not believed you.
Right.
If you would have told me that I would be working for Nick Cannon, I would have not believed you. That would have not
Right.
been on any of my plans. Like, and I never
Mm.
planned. Maybe it's the Aries in me. Like, I love spontaneity. But I don't know. And that's
Wonderful.
the God honest truth. I know that I'm just gonna work hard, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay. I, hey, listen, I've been in that position and I very much understand that. I very much understand that. But is there like a particular like vibe or message that you constantly try to convey in your music to your audience? Because Julian Banks is here. Julian B is here. So it's like, what do you try to convey to people in this new era of you?
Uh, I think something that I convey now is what I've always tried to convey my whole life
Right.
is that I just want to be myself.
Yeah.
That I literally just want to be myself. The music industry is very, very competitive. It's very hard. It's very
Yeah.
disgusting at times. It's not very lucrative, especially like doing it independently. And it's very cutthroat. And so I've always found myself like not comparing myself to other people, especially in music, just because like it's taken me a while to put out music because I needed something that I believed in first to do it.
Right.
But I've always wanted people to see me this way. And
Okay.
so that is why now I just want to convey that I just want to be myself. Like I've never wanted to, I don't think I've compared myself to anyone. I've always been like, well, yeah, they sound really good, but that's not what I want to sound like. That's not what I want to do. I have so many peers that are so successful in music. And even just looking at the people that I've been inspired by, like I don't sound like them.
Right.
And it's not like I have like I don't want to say that like I have like the biggest voice in the world, because I know I don't have the biggest voice in the world. And I'm fine with that because this is, no pun
Who
intended,
you are.
what I do. No, this is what I do, which is one of my songs. And it's like I just want to be myself. That's it. That's all that I want to convey. And I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it well, and because it's literally what I do.
Okay. So since you're going to do what you do, how is it now building this new personal brand as Julian B? How is that? Because I know you know the different brands you've had to work with, that you've been blessed to work with, which were from Power to Nick and all the smaller ones in between. Like, how is it now tailoring it specifically for yourself? Like, is there anything that you've noticed that you're like, when I was here, I did this and I like that. Or when you were somewhere else, you're like, you know what, I kind of didn't like that. But like, can you share some insight on that? It's like building Julian B's brand.
I feel like on a personal level, I've been building it for a while. And so I'm a very vulnerable person. I'm a very honest and open person. And so just like through the years, especially in the social media space, I feel like I've just been building me personally. And I've gone through a lot. I've experienced a lot. And so I want to convey that. I want to share that. And I feel like that's how I started to build my own brand. And now like with it going into music and like utilizing the social media space, I kind of hate social media because I've worked it so much. And so like I am kind of lazy when it comes to it, but I know like there's a lot of things that I want to do with this project that I haven't done yet, social media wise. And so just continuing to like show how this all came together. I feel like I've worked a lot putting myself together, and I've shown that as well. And so going into this project, like it was really, really personal. Because, well, okay, so my project is called Waiting. And in the beginning, when I started writing, it was just songs that like just came out because of a breakup that I went through. And one of the title track "Waiting" is about waiting on somebody to love you back,
Yeah.
and that they're not going to. And like over the years, because it took me a really long time to put this together. Over the years, like the song "Waiting," it started to transform a meaning for me because I started to realize that I've been waiting on myself this entire time just to believe in myself, to
Wow.
to share what God has given me. Like it's a God-given talent, and I found a lot of inspiration in Victoria Monet recently. Not so much in her music. I love her music. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of what she shared about how it's taken her a really long time in the industry to get where she wants, and how you can't really sleep on yourself. Like God gave you something, and it's your
Right.
duty to share it.
Right.
And that's the headspace that I've been in for a little bit.
That's good,
Did
man.
that answer the question?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was a very thorough answer. That
Okay.
really does. And it even touched on some of the things I was thinking about asking you about, like how personal experiences have influenced your songwriting. But it's just like you said it. You were like you lived life, and out of living life you were able to put pen to paper and put melody to it to create this new you. And I think that's dope. I'm telling you, I've never seen this side of Julian B. Let me get it
Yeah.
correct. I've never seen that side before, even though you would always come to my wife's birthday parties and sing her happy birthday. Like, I knew you could, but seeing this side, I'm very much intrigued. Like, oh, I want to see what level you can take it to, because honestly, I've seen what you've done with other brands and other personalities. That's why I was asking, like, how does you now building your own brand, how is that going to shape? That's why I asked that question.
And honestly, it's really scary because even though, like, okay, so you said like you never saw this inside of me, and a lot of people haven't. I've always talked about how important music is to me, but I never got the chance to like put anything out. Like I put out songs, but that just really didn't do anything for me. This is the first time that I actually had a full project, and again, it's the first time that
how many songs are we
it's 7
dropping?
songs. It's already up.
Whoa.
Where you been?
Julian? I'm gonna call you Julian. Get back in screen. No, I've only seen the ones you've posted.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've only seen those, and so those are, I think it's 4 videos you've put up, right?
3.
Yeah, so 3 videos that I've seen. My favorite is the one where I call you Super Crip. Man, they got a whole blue outfit on with the blue hair. I was like, look at Super Crip Julian.
Stop it. But like I've known this was always in me, but I really just didn't believe in it all the time. Just because I wanted to execute it how I'm executing it. I didn't just want to put out songs and like let that be it. I wanted to be a complete artist. I wanted to take on this and do it in a way that I saw my favorite artists doing it. Having music videos, having like really good photo shoots, really good cover art, and like really good buzz.
That's a good one that you just said. So what artists have influenced you because we don't see music videos anymore. That era has, I guess, passed us. But it is a real art and a real craft. And you can see that on your Instagram, where it's like the behind the scenes, where it's like you went to a studio to learn the dance moves, where you're executing them. And even the BTS scenes where you're working with the choreographer before you shoot that section, hitting your moves. So it's like, what artists have like influenced this creation now?
Well, if you know me personally, then you already know that
Brandy.
Yes, Brandy is my number one, like number one. And then like Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, Kanye West, Pink, Christina Aguilera, like and I grew up during a time where like music was like actually really, really good and like actually said something, and like wasn't 2-minute songs, wasn't like 2-minute 30 songs, bridges were in songs, like and lyrics meant something. And so I definitely stick to that standard of, creating a song in the traditional format of like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and just like telling stories really,
Okay.
and songwriting. And I feel like I'm finally in a place where I know the direction and the sound that I want to continue to develop for myself.
Got it. So since you're in this development stage, do you ever see yourself pulling from things that are happening in like popular culture, or are they all Julian B? Are they all internal, or do you pull from external sources?
I literally all the time,
Okay.
I pull from everything, especially
Okay.
the people that really inspired me. If you listen to my songs, I do little nods to artists with like switching up their lyrics and putting it into my songs, or I'll do like really cool vocal things
Okay.
that aren't like traditional, just because. Oh, I forgot to mention Don Richard. Don Richard
Okay.
and Tinashe, sorry. Don Richard from Danny Kane, like she is very important to me just because she's
Okay.
not traditional in any sense. Her sound is very what she wants it to be. It's very dance focused with R&B rooted in it, and I love that. And so like a lot of the stuff, like I'll do like some of the vocal nuances that she does, and I'll make it my own. I'll spin it and do it my own. I have a song called Make Love where on the bridge of it, I borrow Janet Jackson's I Get Lonely, gonna break it down. Like I incorporated that even in my music videos, or like any of the looks that I have. I want to pay homage to things that have influenced me.
Right.
So my pull-up video, I wanted to pay homage to my city, 818. I'm from North Hollywood, and I wanted to give a little nod to it. And so like I filmed it at Circus Liquor, which is a really popular liquor store. It's in like so many movies. And it was literally down the block from where I grew up. Tahunga Avenue, which is another one of my songs. I literally named it after the street because it was like during the pandemic. I think it was during the pandemic, or it might have been the year before that. I needed to write, and I went to the park, like North Hollywood Park, and I parked off of Tahunga Avenue, and I wrote that song in like 20 minutes. And so I didn't want to, I say right there a lot in the song, but I didn't want to name it that. And so I just named it Tahunga Avenue. Yeah, so I'm always, and even like in my song Pull Up on my album, I put the viral boy, his it's like little audio. He says, "Pull up on me, pull up,
Pull up on
yeah."
me.
I put that on the album. Like I'm a very serious, unserious person. Like I like to take myself seriously, but I don't want to seem like I'm taking myself seriously. And so like I just like to do nods to everything that's influenced me, just because it's had such a major impact and how I live my day to day.
That is very true, and you can see it in this project and like in the videos and things like that. So can you break down what your like steps are, or your process of writing? Is it like, do you need like dead quiet, or are you pulling from just like how you're feeling that day? Like, what is your process and steps to getting pen to paper, to getting paper to studio, to recording and all that?
Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I hate recording. I would have much rather perform. I love performing. But I hate recording. But
why?
It's just a very vulnerable place, especially if you're making music that like is really reflective of the things you're experiencing. And it's a really challenging place. Like I love challenges, and the studio is definitely a challenge for me. But I just don't like recording. It's a tedious process. You got to do things over and over. When you think you're doing something right, you are. But it's very rewarding at the end, because it's like, fuck, I did that. Like, this is what I created. But usually, like, just like, I'll get like random melodies or lyrics in my head, like just randomly. And I'll take those like 2 lines and I'll write it down in my phone. and then I'll like revisit it
Mhm.
some ways down the line. But outside of that, like if that's how usually I like write my songs, because I don't necessarily I don't produce like at all. I'm
Mm.
horrible. Anything technology, I'm bad at it.
But
Um,
if it's a phone, you're good to go.
yes. Um, sometimes. But like if I have a beat, I'll write to it,
Awesome.
or I'll
Right.
write out a song, and then I'll find a beat,
Listen.
and I'll alter it to make it fit the beat.
Right.
But most of the time, like I write with my notepad, my music book. If I don't write it out on my phone, I do voice memos. But usually I stick to the formula of like the traditional songwriting format. You know, you write a verse, and then you go into the chorus, and then you write another verse, and you go into the chorus, and then there's a bridge, and then the end
Listen.
of the song. Sometimes I start with the chorus if that like is really catchy and it comes in my head. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the chorus. And then usually times though, I
Mhm.
just write the verses first.
Mm.
Yeah.
But do you have anybody in there to uh your entourage? Do you ever have anyone
No,
in there that you're letting
no.
listen to it or giving you feedback in the moment?
I have one person. His name is Chris. I've known him since high school.
Mhm.
He's also a singer too. Actually, his artist name is Drayon. Sorry, but Chris is like my go-to person. Like he's in the studio with me all the time. He's helping me vocal produce.
And
And we also like help each other out like on the music
okay.
tip. He's the only person. I don't like
Well,
having people in the studio because I said it's a vulnerable place for me. I don't
mhm.
like having people in the studio because I don't um like I don't need the pressure,
Distractions.
distraction. Yeah. And like
Yeah.
if you are a musical person, why are you in the studio? I don't need you hanging out. Like you
They
don't
need to do it for the gram. I'm in the
no,
studio.
I
They
don't
need to show
no,
like they
no.
about to drop something.
No, that's what I hate people who do like stuff for social media. But anyway,
Yeah.
but it's very much a controlled environment. Um,
Mm.
yeah, but I do whenever like whenever I have like 75-80% of a song done, I share it
Mhm.
with my best friends
Mhm.
and my brother. He's one of my best
Yeah.
friends.
Okay.
Um, I dedicated my project to them just because they literally have always believed that I could do this. Um, and they're the people that I go to when I have like music that I want to share and I like get their opinions on it.
Mm. That's beautiful, man. That's really sweet. Because most people, I want to put it
That's
to my
sweet.
mama. It's like, nah, I got to get used to my friends, man. They're the ones that held me down
You know
when
what?
I didn't even believe in myself. So
You
yeah,
know,
that's really sweet. And then you can say sweet, man. It's nice.
of
It's
course you can
cool.
say sweet. Of course. Very
But
sweet.
speak, we will talk about that one too. So speaking of working with and sharing things with your family, you're also here's the third triple threat Julian is. He is a OG,
What?
triple OG podcaster.
Uh,
Look at him. It's like, what are you gonna
I was
say?
about to say,
Nah,
yeah.
he is a podcaster
Mhm.
with his brother.
Yes.
Same mom, different dads.
Yes.
Shout out to your graphic designer for the logo.
Thank you, Justin. Yes.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
I was waiting for that. Thank you. But how is it working with family in that aspect of you and your brother? Like y'all live together, y'all
Yeah.
party together, y'all eat together, y'all go out, y'all do everything together. So how is it hosting together where it's like you
Um,
might need to wrangle each other in sometimes, or do you
Mhm.
just let each other fly free?
no, for the for the most part, it's literally all love. Like our mother raised us right. We might have different dads, but
Based on the name.
I want to say something, but I don't know if that's like too much.
Same moms, different dads.
Same mom, different dads. We have like,
Same mom,
yeah,
different
like
dads.
our mother raised us. She was a single mom,
Mhm.
and even though we have different dads, we also have a younger brother.
Mhm.
Um, and he has the same dad as Cody.
Mhm.
But she was like, y'all came out of me. Y'all are not no half brother. Like y'all are brothers. And so, um, it was just us growing up too. Like, she was a single mom, like did everything that she could. And so like we were raised right. And so it's all love with my brother. Like we get on each other's nerves. Like we live with each other. We've lived with each other like almost our whole lives. And now we're doing it together, like living together and like working on our podcast together. And there are times where we butt heads a lot. Like we didn't talk for 2 weeks almost. We were together and we did not say a word to each other for 2 weeks. And it was during the downtime of our podcast. And we were like, well, I don't want to do the podcast anymore. Oh, well. But we, you know, it's always like, it's family. It's super easy working with him, but also it's annoying working with him sometimes. But it comes together. And I think people see our bond and our brotherhood and our podcast. Like people legit would just tell us before we even started the podcast, y'all should do a podcast. And like people would tell us that for years. And like during the pandemic, we started to think about it just because we were with each other a lot. And like we would go live on Instagram and just like have parties with ourselves, like and like share it on social media. And we just started thinking about it during the pandemic. And like it's been a year, almost 2 years in 2025 that we're going to be doing it. Yeah, and like we're still figuring it out. But we know that there's like a bigger picture that's happening, and and we know that people see that.
That's good. So how do you work on, you know, not losing your voice in these like conversations because sometimes I know I've seen you're primarily the host sometimes. So it's like, how do you not lose Julian's voice in this whole like podcasting space?
Well, we do 50-50. Like everything with us is 50-50. So we carry the weight for ourselves and each other. And we plan out our episodes like and I feel like either of us will never lose our voice because we are going to be heard either way. Like I'm very loud. And so I'm definitely going to get my opinions across. I don't, but I am, in comparison to my brother, I'm a lot more reserved than he is. And I don't know if this is going to sound weird or not, but just based off of like a lot of the stuff that I have going on, like even my profession, like me being an artist, like I don't want to share everything about myself with people
publicly like that.
Gotcha. And so like I'm very much more like, I don't want to say calculated, but I try to think about what I want to share and how much I want to share. Just because I work in the industry and like a lot of the times we talk about pop culture topics and news and like what's going on in the Black community, what's going on in the gay Black community. And a lot of this stuff like surrounds people that I come in contact with. And yeah, I don't know if they're watching our podcast or not, like, you know, but I don't share a lot of stuff just because I feel like I have the right to not share. But also like I just have things going on, and also like I don't want to say something on my podcast and like here I am as an artist
jeopardizing something.
Yeah, and like down talking somebody else who's just sharing their gifts, you know? Like so, yeah. But I might always say what I want to say. And sometimes we bleep things out when I don't want.
It gets too far.
Like during when we film, I'm like, okay, we tell each other we'll say what we want to say, and if we don't want it in, then we'll edit it out or we'll bleep it or something. So yeah.
Okay. So now that you've had all those hats, how do you manage these different roles? Podcaster, content creator, media manager, singer-songwriter. Like, how do you find balance within all these things? And like, how do you stay ahead, you know, and have the energy to stay ahead in all these like aspects?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't. Like,
that's funny.
I honestly, I go through a lot. Like I suffer from depression. And I've shared that like publicly.
Yeah.
Um, and these past couple years have been really difficult.
Definitely.
My dad passed away in 2021, and
Yeah.
then my uncle passed like a month, no, 2 months after he did. And then like I've just had a lot of lost life in these past couple years, and then like my grandmother just passed away at the beginning of August,
Really?
and like on top of like me trying to be like a
Yeah.
superhuman, and like
That's a lot.
it's a lot. Like
It's a lot.
again, like I don't share everything,
Yeah, sure.
but like having to work for a public figure, like a very public figure, having to try to do my own thing, stay focused and like stay motivated to really put my music out there, like showcase myself as an artist, showcase my God-given talent. Trying to balance doing a podcast with my brother, like showing up for him because we're doing this project together. Trying to balance family, like it's a lot. I'm not even gonna hold you, it's a lot. And so when I do figure it out, I will let you know. But right now, like it's more like I'm doing what I need to do every day to like make sure that everything is happening.
Yeah. And I know you just mentioned like your setbacks and how you're pulling through with like just getting there and being present for everyone. So what's been the, how could I say this? What's been the best way you've learned how to weather adversity and keep, but still having the energy to keep going? What has worked for you in that essence?
Well, actually, so at the beginning of the year, I don't know why, but I know why, because it was God. I was like, I want to go to church more. And so I kind of set out to go to church like every Sunday. And if I can't make it, then I'll watch it. And it helps me realize that like God has always been with me. And like whenever something could have gone wrong, when everything goes right, I always listen to my gut. And like I'm like, I realize God is speaking to me in my gut. Like that's always been there for me. I just didn't like want to tap into it or just like understand it completely. But I've really liked to spend time alone. Growing up, I spent a lot of time alone. Like I didn't have many friends. And because that was purposefully though. Is that a word, purposefully? I think it is.
Yes.
Because I felt like a lot of people didn't understand me when I was a kid because I didn't understand myself. And so like I just decided to like stay by myself a lot of the time. And so things for me nowadays, stuff that looks like self-care to me is like really just like spending time alone, listening to music, watching TV. When I was a kid, that's all I would do. I would watch a lot of TV and I would listen to music and like go in the bathroom and just like listen, put my headphones in and just like listen to music and like just escape in that way. But now like I have like a really good support system, like with my brother especially. Like we live together and like he knows like I struggle with depression and he's here to actually go through these experiences with me because we have like separate families, you know. And he's been here for the times that my family has passed and like he's experiencing that stuff with me. And so like he knows when like he won't like
an off day.
Yeah, he won't like outwardly say anything, but he'll like do things or like you know, so he knows. But they're like my best friends. Like I stay grounded with them. Like I talk to them every day. My best friend, his name's LR. We don't live in the same city. He lives in Dallas. We literally talk on the phone every other day, and like we just spend hours talking on the phone. Like, and I don't talk on the phone with a lot of people. But did I answer your question?
Yeah. Okay, you're cooking, so I'm gonna let the chef be in the kitchen. I'm not gonna stop you. No, but I just wondered how you handled adversity and coming to the point where you realized you had to have some form of God in your life to help direct you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like he's with you when you're writing or in your process?
Um, I do feel a connection to where it's like, this is in my being.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't put pressure on myself. Like, I put pressure on myself in a lot of spaces, like even in my music.
Okay.
But like when I am creating, like,
Okay.
I don't feel like I have to like be something I'm not.
Sure.
And that's just because like I really do feel like I am connected with who I am, and that's because of God, you know.
Yeah. So you also mentioned earlier that you feel like you have a responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
like to your family, to your friends, to I think you said to your music
Yeah.
and a couple of other things. But also being a gay man, do you feel a responsibility to have representation in your work? Is that intentional, or like, could you talk about that? Like
Yeah.
that experience of that?
I don't want to say I feel like I have a responsibility. I said earlier, I just want to be myself. I've always just wanted to be myself. And however that comes out, that is going to be my representation of people, especially like maybe little kids that like might come across me, you know? Because when I was a kid, I had nothing to like tell me that I was okay to be myself. Which is why I started, one of the main reasons why me and my brother started our podcast, because there really is no representation for young Black gay men who, I don't know, I don't want to catch like the little flack for this, but like in the media, a lot of the times you see gay people, it's always like the extremely feminine, extremely flamboyant gays that are just like living their lives, being themselves. But that's always been portrayed. Like even when I was a kid, like I always would see things that like I couldn't identify with. Like in the gay community, there's like a lot of labels and a lot of like vocabulary when it comes to like categorizing yourself. And I always felt like I was in between a lot of everything. Like I'm not like super feminine. I'm not super masculine. I just feel like I'm always in between when it comes to like this aspect of my life. And I've never had that representation. Like I never saw anything that was like, okay, well maybe it is okay to be who I am. And so that's why like right now, that's what we want to show in our podcast. But also when it comes to me being an artist, like I don't put limitations on what I do. And I literally just want to be myself. So however that comes out, that's what you get from it, so be it. I'm just gonna be myself either way.
So you would say authenticity is huge for you then?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you find yourself blending all this? Because I feel like it's like you're juggling a lot of things, but how do you find a way to blend it so that it seamlessly works for you?
I think it's doing what it does because, again, I don't put any pressure on it. These are all the things that I've wanted to do my whole life. So I've waited a really long time, no pun intended. I've waited a really long time to do all of this stuff that I'm doing. I worked really hard to get where I am to do all of the stuff that I'm doing. And so if it looks seamless, it's not because it was seamless, but because I was in rooms preparing me for the things that I'm doing right now, you know? So like I was learning how to do social media so that I can transform that and use it in my music and for my podcast. I was learning how to be a good artist and songwriter by first like looking at the people that inspire me, but also I've been around music my entire life. Like I've been performing my entire life. Like all of that has like prepared me to do what I'm doing now, how I want to do it.
Oh, that's dope. It seems like it's like it's a saying. It's like the stuff you pray for now that you have it. You know, it's like you had to get prepared for it. That's amazing,
Yeah.
man.
And
That
like,
is very much amazing.
thank you. But also like I'm like doing this all by myself, like on a really small
Well,
scale. And I feel like it looks big. I don't know.
it does.
Uh,
It really does. Like sometimes I was like, I tell Nora, I'm like, babe, when does Julian sleep? Like, I feel like he
I
leaves one
don't.
place to go shoot something for his music video. He got 4 more videos up on Nick Cannon's thing. I'm like,
Right?
when do these people find time to rest?
Yeah. I mean, like, you just figure it out, honestly. Like if it's
Sure.
something that you want to believe in, it's something you want to do, you figure it out. Like again earlier I said I keep my head down and I work fucking hard.
Uh-huh.
Um yeah. That's all I can give right now. I just work fucking hard. If it works out, it works out.
Well, hey, I'm not mad at it. I totally understand it. I definitely am in your shoes with doing a couple of things. So I
Mhm.
know what it's like to just put your head down and grind it out. Just go for it. Just go for it. So you mentioned a lot about mental health.
Mhm.
How important is that to you to redirect and always get back to your mental health? How important is that for you?
It's really important because if I'm not in the right mind,
Yeah.
um, I'm not gonna be in the right mind, you know?
Mhm.
And I've been trying to like get in the gym more because that's supposed to help with their mental state. I be in therapy.
I'll
uh,
be in therapy.
right?
That works.
Therapy. Um, music is always gonna be my escapism. It's always gonna be a spot that like helps me heal.
Yeah.
I try to sleep. Um, because if I don't, then my mind is just gonna be on 1000 all the time. And I feel like that it's like that right now, just because of like I'm grieving still.
Yeah.
But I always like just try to get out of it by working and
Right.
like doing the things that make me feel peaceful and calm.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. You got to do those things to stay peaceful and calm to help your mental.
Yeah,
You always have to do that.
yeah. And if it's something that like really affects me, I'm
Okay.
not gonna be around it.
Right.
Um, especially when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
And especially like relationships with your family too. Like a lot of the
Okay.
times, not everybody is gonna understand who you are,
Okay.
even though I know for me personally, I like to present myself as who I am.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show up
Right.
100% me all the time. And
Uh-huh.
if people don't understand that, I can't help you because I can't explain who I am. Like
Right.
I'm not gonna do that, because I've
Just
always
like sit back and enjoy the ride.
yeah, but I've always felt like I shied away from like really sharing who I was because I've
Okay.
always been afraid of like judgment.
Mhm.
Um, but now like I've really stopped like trying to explain who I am to people, and I just present myself. And if you rock with it, you
Most
rock with
authentic,
it. If you don't, you
most
don't.
authentic version of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Well, Julian, before we finish this podcast, I just got one question for you. What advice
Oh,
would
wait,
you give to your
I s-
younger self?
wait, I thought you were gonna say, "Why are you gay?"
Dang, dude. Now you took that away from me. Now I can't even ask that question. No, but I knowing your story
Yeah.
and now hearing it from you, I just want to know, like, what advice would you give your younger self? The one that would sit in the bathroom with
Okay.
the headphones on, the one who didn't have friends.
Okay.
What would you tell that younger version of Julian Banks?
I literally tell this to myself all the time just because I'm in this space where it's like all of what I'm doing with my music right now
Okay.
is healing my younger self.
Yeah.
But I would tell myself and do it anyway. I tell myself that all the time.
Oh, you guys, that's going to be a great way for us to end it. Julian, where can people find you and what projects do you have coming out?
I'm on social media. This is Julian B on all social platforms except TikTok. My TikTok is Julian B. My podcast is Same Mom Different Dad podcast on YouTube, and on social media we are Same Mom Diff Dads. Um, I my project is out on all streaming platforms. I have a YouTube channel. This is Julian B as well. It's all branded the same. I have 3 visuals out. What I do, Tahunga Avenue and Pull Up, they're all on my YouTube channel. I sound really professional right now. I have I have like a blog series that I'm going to start soon. Just sharing my experience with my project, how it all came together, the behind the scenes stuff that's going to be featured on my YouTube channel. And then I'm trying to put together a performance that'll be featured on my YouTube. So like a full concert to get that experience. So I'm in the beginning stages of that, trying to figure out how I want it to look, how I want to sound, who I'm going to work with, like what will make sense for me. So that is on the horizon.
That's on the horizon. Well, thank you guys for sitting down, taking time out to hear Julian Banks, aka Julian B's wonderful story of triumph through adversity. My name is Justin Robinson. This is Julian Banks, and thank you for listening to the Art School Graduates Podcast. Peace. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.